Record. So hi guys, today we have Anima Patil Sabale with us, who has got a stellar career at NASA. I think she's the person who can correctly, tell us what she's up to, what she's doing. But one of the most exciting personalities who has come on our podcast, and I was very excited throughout the day to, get this 15-20 minutes with her because this is a very exciting opportunity, not only for me, for all the kids, parents, and the audiences that are going to view this worldwide, especially in India. So she belongs to space fraternity and she has flagged India's, pride right up there in US and we've been following very closely with her socials and she's doing excellent work over here. So welcome, ma'am, and thanks a lot to for giving us time in your hectic schedule because we know you're going a lot of training must be there and a lot of traveling is there. So thanks a lot for coming on this platform and giving us time.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here to share my story and hopefully inspire a few kids, a few girls, and let them know that you can. Nothing is impossible. All you have to do is put in your hard work and your dedication, and you can achieve your goals.
Right, right. So, ma'am, one question that comes to my mind is even as a kid, I had all my room wrapped up with photos of Kalpana Chawla, Rakesh Sharma, Neil Armstrong, Yuri Gagarin, all of them. Okay, I used
Mhm.
to, tear it up from the newspaper and just put it on my, cupboard and my study table and everything. Eventually, as the years gone, my dream faded and I went into traditional engineering and, I got into the system. So
Yep.
tell us how you, went about your aspirations, how you stayed on the same, and how you pursued where you are today and your educational journey.
Sure. Yep. Yep. So yeah, I grew up in Jalgaon, studied at St. Joseph's Convent High School. So when I was a little girl, we would sleep on the terrace during the summers. I don't know if you guys still do that,
Yes,
but it
yes,
used to be hot, and so we would be on the terrace. And when I would sleep at that time, the skies were really dark, right? So we
yep,
could literally see a lot more stars than you can see today. I think you must not be able to see even 10% of what we saw
no,
at that time. The skies were really dark, and I could literally see the arm of the galaxy. I that those memories. I don't even know what my age was. I was very little, but I still have that in my mind. That milkiness in the sky and then the
mm,
stars in there. So I would stare at them and I would wonder what is up there,
mm,
and can we go up there? But didn't know what how you go up there and all that stuff, right? So at our
right,
school at St. Joseph's Convent, there was a book exhibition once. In that book exhibition, I saw pictures of astronauts. In a book, I saw pictures of astronauts laying on their backs, launching into space. And then that told me that this is how you go up there. And
mm,
so since then, that dream took hold in my mind, that it took seed in my mind that this is what I want to do. I want to go up there and find out what's up there. I want to
right,
become an astronaut. But all my school years, this was in the 80s. So all my school years, I tried to figure out how do I go about doing this. We did not have the internet at that time. I don't even remember about the Apollo landings.
uh-huh,
A lot of people say because I was born after that, right? So
right,
my only resource was Russia and India had good ties at that time.
mm,
It was the USSR, and they had a magazine called the Soviet Russia something. I don't remember the exact name, but we had those magazines in the library at school and also at
okay,
home. My dad had subscribed to those. So there are pictures of their cosmonauts and their space program in that. And
okay,
that was really fascinating to me. So I would read up on those. Even in school, whenever we would get a free class, maybe we didn't have a class, and so, or even in the recess, I would always be in the library looking at books and newspapers and whatever articles I could find about the astronaut. So that's how I kept that passion going and still kept struggling. What do I need to do? I would bring the Air Force application because I knew Rakesh Sharma ji. I read about him. He went to space through the Russian space program. One flight that his flight was in the 80s, I think.
mm,
So that told me he was a fighter pilot, and that's how he got to go to space, become an astronaut. So maybe I should pursue that route. Now, at that time, Indian Air Force was not accepting women, right? They just recently started accepting
Yeah.
women in combat roles, that too. Earlier, it was just the administrative roles.
Yeah.
So I thought by the time I graduate from college, they might start accepting women.
Mhm.
So I didn't know it was going to happen, but I've always been positive and hopeful that I do my part and then maybe it will work out. So
True.
with that, I brought the Air Force application. I looked at the requirements. It said you have to have a bachelor's in engineering, or physics one was one option. So I thought, let me try that physics, because my dad, his condition was जळगावात राहूनच करायचंय जे काही शिक्षण करायचंय. So then engineering was not an option. At the time, the engineering college was really new. I don't even remember when it started. But I
Mhm.
decided to pursue bachelor's in physics. Physics was a
Okay.
subject I liked as well. I passed that subject out with distinction, but while studying, I joined the NCC. I would have preferred joining the Air Wing. We did not have Air Wing in Jalgaon.
Yeah.
So then I ended up joining the Army Wing that we had. And in that also, I competed for the best cadet at the state level, and did not make it to go to the Republic Day parade because I was not tall enough.
Okay.
They preferred bringing taller girls. So
Mhm.
that was a disappointment. But while competing with girls from Mumbai and Pune, I got
Mhm.
to know that even though I'm from Jalgaon, I am up to that caliber. I can make it.
Right.
I was heard in that all those what were those competitions called? Comprehension and all the mental exams that we have. Yeah.
Scholarship
No
exams, I think.
scholarship. There's a word for that. It's not coming to me right now, but
MTSC.
like your IQ exams, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, so I and then you had to write essays and answer
Okay.
questions. So in that I aced, but
Mhm.
where I fell behind was in my height, so which was really disappointing. And that was my first ever experience with failure. It was
Mm.
not my own personal failure, but it was my physical failure that was not in
Right.
my control. So I
Right.
dealt with that because I almost made it as a best cadet to the Republic Day Parade. But then dealt with that disappointment, but then decided to focus back on my goals. But during that time, because I wanted to join the Air Force, I was trying to keep myself physically fit by running for miles near Mehrun Talao. Today,
Yeah.
Mehrun Talao, that area is fully cluttered with homes. At
Yeah.
that time, it was all open. There was no development, and we would start at that little Hanuman temple right where the Mehrun Talao was, and we would run for miles. Some of us cadets. So this is how I kept myself physically fit at that time. Doing a lot of multitasking also. I learned that how you multitask and you give your best to everything while you're doing that. You never slack off on anything. So I was teaching in my dad's coaching classes. He had coaching classes called challenge classes. They were very popular, and I got to teach
Mm.
fifth, sixth, and seventh grade students English, science, and math. That helped me also with my communication skills, right? You have
Right.
to be good at communicating with people when you want to teach. So these are the kind of things that I kept on doing to build myself, to develop myself. Then finished my BSc Physics with distinction. Even the final year project was in astronomy. That's how passionate I was about space.
Okay.
We did not have anything but the encyclopedias in the MG College library. That is
Okay.
where you would find me preparing for my project. So I brought the Air Force application after my bachelor's was done. At that time, even then, it was saying you have to be a male. You No females can apply basically. I decided to ignore that fact. The second condition was you have to have perfect 20/20 vision. At that time,
Okay.
I had a slight myopia. I was short sighted.
Mm.
So that was something that I could not ignore. So I
Mm.
had to that was frustrating again, that oh, now I can't ignore this condition and so I can't apply. So
Right.
I had to let go of that opportunity, couldn't apply. That summer was very sad for me, disappointing, in tears. And then my dad suggested there is a new program, masters in computer applications at the North Maharashtra University. It was
Okay.
just the third year or 3 year old, and I think we were the third batch. So I applied to that. There were only 30 seats. I got into the entrance through the entrance exam, and then I did my master's in computer applications. Even while doing that, my dad was like, it's a 3 year program. You're already getting marriage proposals since you are in 12th, so no guarantees you will be able to finish your degree. Then my mom stepped in and she said, she is smart, brilliant, let her study. We will negotiate with her in-laws if लग्न जुळून आलं तर. तर अशा प्रकारे मम्मीमुळे मला मग MCA करायला मिळालं.
Okay.
So MCA, while studying, I got married, and me and my husband came to Mumbai. He was also looking for opportunities. So we worked in Mumbai as software engineers, and we got hired by the same company to come to the US, California, San Jose,
Mm-hmm.
um, as software consultants. While working there, while driving from San Jose to San Francisco just for tourism purpose, I saw NASA Ames Research Center, that big logo of NASA. And
Yeah.
that's when it started coming back. Hey, this is my opportunity. Even though it's kind of late, I want to try. I want to do something about it. So then I started looking, but I couldn't apply because I was still on H-1B visa, right? And for
Mm.
NASA, you have to be a US citizen.
Mm.
So I thought, okay, while I wait, I don't know when I was going to become a citizen, but I don't want to just sit idle and do nothing. So I decided to do a second master's in aerospace engineering because I wanted to do that in the past, but I didn't have the opportunities. And right now I was here in California and I could do it. So I looked at universities. I had to think about my budget. Can I afford a Stanford? No. So then what can I afford? A state university like San Jose State University. Met the department chair for aerospace engineering there, talked to him, shared with him my passion and my background, the software engineering background. I was so lucky they waived the GRE requirement for me because of my work experience. And
Mm-hmm.
I got accepted into the program. And I started my master's in aerospace engineering with a 3-year-old son, a full time
Okay.
job, and a long 1 hour commute every day to classes.
Okay.
It was not an
Okay.
online program, I had to go in person. So, this is how that journey started. And then I never looked back. I had my second son by the time I finished that aerospace engineering. Of course, when I started, my parents and my husband would not understand. Why do you want to do this at this stage in life? You have a nice big house, you have a full time job, you have a kid. And their concern was that I would not be able to do justice to the family. They will be neglected if I
Mm.
study and work and do all these things. But through I could have given up when everyone was saying that. Even my friends were saying, इस उम्र में क्यों इतना slog करना है Anima? So I could have given up, but no, I did not want to. That's how I am. That passion was so deep. I said, no, I'm going to do it and I'm going to prove to everyone that I'm not going to compromise on my duties for my family and I'm going to give it my best. And that's what I did. I had to stretch myself, work a
Mm.
lot harder than I have to today because with kids, young kids, it's really challenging, right?
Yeah.
But as I kept working, my parents and my husband saw that, yeah, she is dedicated and she's not going to give up on her responsibilities. I told them, you guys are my priority. My goals are my secondary priority. And then that's how they started supporting me. By the time I finished the masters, my parents were here to help me with the younger one.
Yeah.
And I passed out the MS with a good GPA. And I kept applying to NASA, but wasn't a citizen. So it took almost 4 to 5 years after my aerospace engineering.
Okay.
So even then I could have given up, right? But I
Yeah.
did not. That's how persistent I was. I kept working. I was working for Oracle at that time
Okay.
as a software developer. And then when I was about to become a citizen, I got the first ever call from NASA Ames for the Kepler mission. The project manager first question was, "Are you a US citizen?" I'm like, "Not yet, but I'm going to be one next month." So he said, "Okay, come on over for an interview." There was just one interview with a big team of scientists, engineers, project managers, and I got hired. They liked my aerospace and software background, the combined mix, and my interest in astronomy. I even had a telescope at that time that I shared with them. So that's how my NASA journey started.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I can keep going because now I'm
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Houston,
Definitely.
that California,
Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
So working on the Kepler mission was as still as a principal software engineer.
Okay.
So the data that comes from Kepler telescope.
Hmm.
Let me tell you about Kepler in a
Yep.
couple of sentences. Kepler was a space-based telescope
Hmm.
launched to look for Earth-like planets around
Okay.
sun-like stars in our galaxy. Basically, we were trying to find an Earth 2.0 in our galaxy.
Okay.
And Kepler did an amazing job. It was the first telescope of its kind. So the data it captured about stars and their planets around them, it came here on Earth, and our team would process that data and make
Okay.
it into usable products for astrophysicists and scientists to use. So yeah, we found a lot of planets, and I can talk a lot about Kepler because I have a separate speaking topic about that, but we don't have the bandwidth for that. So yeah, but my thing was I still had the hope to become an astronaut, right?
Yeah.
I had not given up on that, so I want to do something towards that. I didn't want to stay a software engineer all my life. So, but to be an astronaut or to pursue anything in human spaceflight, if not even an astronaut, you have to be here in Houston, which is the home
Hmm.
of human spaceflight. This is
Yeah.
where astronauts live, train, and work.
Yeah.
So and then, but my boys were younger, and family was a priority. So we could not move here at that time because that place where we were raising them, San Ramon, California, was the ideal place to raise family. So I kept putting my thing off and kept working there at NASA Ames after Kepler in Intelligent Systems Division and all that stuff. But then now, when that work on Kepler was done, I requested my boys, they were older now, let's move to Houston. This is
Yeah.
my only opportunity. And I kept applying to the NASA astronaut program. Plus, on the side, while working at NASA Ames as an engineer, I started doing something in my own personal time. I trained as a scientist, not candidate, for a
Hmm.
commercial spaceflight research program called POSSUM, Polar
Okay.
Suborbital
Yep.
Science Upper Mesosphere. A
Yes.
lot of people have followed me in that POSSUM program, which is
Yep.
amazing to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, they that training helped me test myself physically. Am I capable of handling G forces,
Hmm.
of handling myself in zero gravity? So we flew some flights, and then after training to be a scientist astronaut candidate, I flew research flights in spacesuits. So we were
Okay.
testing the performance of the spacesuit. So we
Right.
flew on Falcon 20 aircrafts,
Mm-hmm.
parabolas. When you fly
Mm-hmm.
parabolas, you experience G forces and then
G-force.
zero gravity. G
Right.
forces and then zero gravity. So those were good experiences as well. But yes, the goal was coming to NASA in the human spaceflight program. I was not
Right.
happy just doing that. I also was a commander for a couple of analog missions, the Mars
Mm-hmm.
Desert Research Station in Utah,
Okay.
and one was NASA's own Hera mission, Human Exploration and Research Analog, which is here
Okay.
at JS. So I got to come here at that time from California for that program. It
Okay.
was exciting to be here, and so that fueled my passion more that I want to go to Houston and work here.
Right.
And then, yeah, 6 years ago, we came here, and I've been working in the human spaceflight program since then. It's been exciting. I don't
Okay.
know, astronaut goal, I got a very late start. So, will I be able to accomplish that goal or achieve that goal? I don't know because
Okay.
at the end of the day, age becomes a factor.
Right.
And so, but I am happy that I'm in a place now in EVA operations, which is
Hmm.
extravehicular activity operations.
Okay.
Extravehicular activity is basically spacewalks.
Yeah.
So our team is the one that works closely with the astronauts. We train them. We plan all their extravehicular activities. So far, it's been on the ISS, and
Yeah.
now it's going to be the lunar surface. And I'm
Yeah.
a part of the team that does the lunar surface operations now,
Oh,
the
great.
Artemis mission.
Okay.
So this was my secondary goal then, I would say. After an
Okay.
astronaut, become a EVA operations flight controller, crew instructor, and I'm here now. So yeah, it's been an exciting journey.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting, and what I feel from your journey is that I certainly believe that there should be a lot more to your journey that you have not spoken yet because you have just conveyed it to us in short. But despite all the obstacles and the hurdles that you faced, you went on pursuing your goal without giving it up. Nowadays, our generation especially and the generation that has come up don't have patience. They give up
I
very
know.
easily. So it's very necessary for people who are watching this that just because you get rejected initially around, or there are obstacles thrown at you, or the family situation, financial situation, whatever XYZ situation comes to you, there is always a way out of it, and you can still pursue any goal. not only
Mhm.
this profession, but any profession for that matter. And this profession
Exactly.
is one of the toughest, to be very
Yes.
honest, what I know. It's very,
Mhm.
cutthroat and very ambitious. Everyone wants to become जब
I know.
when we are in school. So प्रत्येकाला astronaut बनायचं असतं कधी ना कधी school life मध्ये. Everyone has that goal as far as what I remember. So
Yep,
yes,
yep.
uh, how is your experience at NASA? You being very well settled now in NASA. It's been years. How is your experience at NASA now?
It's been exciting. Any work we do, even the Kepler mission was so exciting, right?
Yes,
Finding Earth-like planets. Who has done that?
correct.
No one. So, and we found a lot of planets, and it would be exciting when, from our products, the scientists would discover
Extract
something.
data.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it would be hush hush. We couldn't
yeah,
share anything till it was
yes.
publicly. So it was a fun experience. Plus, at that time, I got to work on NASA's supercomputer, the
Okay,
Pleiades.
okay,
That was exciting because the Kepler data we were collecting for over years, right? And
right.
to rule out that this is to confirm that this is a planet around the star and not an artifact
Huh.
or an error, we had to have had observations from 3 years in a row.
Okay,
The same, we need to say the same signal from the
okay,
planet and the star for 3 years in a row to make sure that, okay, now we can call this a planet. And the
okay.
scientists could rule out that this is not false data or anything like that.
Understood.
So that means we had to process 3 years worth of data for every star. And there were about 150,000 to 200,000 stars we were looking at. So imagine the amount of data. So our local clusters, server clusters, could not handle that amount of data. And that is the reason why then we started using the Pleiades supercomputer to process huge amount of data. So I got
Right.
to learn how to operate things on the supercomputer. That was exciting. And then even now at NASA, the human spaceflight program, we are doing such unique things in the Artemis mission. I don't know if you followed the Artemis 2 mission now. And if
Yes.
you look at the pictures the astronauts captured, our team was not directly involved in this, but we worked with all these astronauts.
Okay.
And we have all been doing some mock up lunar mission scenarios on the surface scenarios. Because there were no EVAs, right? No spacewalks during Artemis 2. So we were
Right.
not directly involved. But Artemis 3 now Artemis 3 is going to be an orbital mission.
Huh.
Um,
Okay.
Artemis is going to be a lunar surface mission, but it's been repurposed to be an orbital mission to test the docking of the lander with Orion.
Okay.
Um, and we might test the spacesuits also, the new spacesuits on that. But Artemis 4 is going to be a surface mission. We will be
Okay.
landing boots on the moon.
Boots on the
So
moon.
yeah, so we are preparing for that. We run VR simulation, lunar
Hmm.
VR based lunar simulation spacewalks. So and in that we bring all flight controllers, all science teams together. We want to make sure the communications and everything is going well. So these are the kind of things I get to do. I'm also building telemetry displays for Artemis mission. So we use telemetry displays in mission control centers, right?
Hmm.
Telemetry is the data that we get from spacecrafts and
Yeah.
spacesuits and all the systems that are up in space. And we want to
Right.
look at that data, monitor that data. So we've been using these telemetry displays in the mission control center for ISS space shuttle since a long time. It's always been the alphanumeric, the numbers and the text kind of displays, tabular displays. I'm trying
Right.
to see if there are newer other designs that I can put in the Artemis display. So that's been a big project for me. It's also been a PhD systems engineering dissertation, which I'm wrapping up this semester, and I'll be done with my PhD. So yeah, it's really fun. It's really exciting. I look forward to working or going to work every day because of the work I'm doing. That's
Work
how
you're doing.
exciting it is for
Right.
NASA. Yeah,
Right.
I was excited about software industry and software engineering when I started off my career. It was something new, but my heart was always in this. So towards
Right.
the end, before I got to
You
work
got
for NASA, I started becoming really frustrated. But that's not happening all these years that I've been
right.
working.
You're right. And being in Mumbai and been in touch with so many students, and not only Mumbai, but a lot of students. many people who are enthusiasts like you, they are ambitious to work with NASA or any space agency for that matter. Are there any programs where a camp is held at NASA for kids, for students, enthusiasts, or something like that that they can apply throughout the year?
There is something called a space camp at Kennedy Space Center. I
Okay,
don't know much about that, but I've seen kids go there.
okay.
They give them like missions, like astronauts would perform mock-up
Hmm,
missions.
hmm,
They get
hmm.
some flight suits, and they get to participate in all those activities. So those
Okay.
space camps at Kennedy Space Center is the one that students can participate in. NASA also has student competitions
Hmm.
that students of all ages can participate in.
Right,
Those are
right.
the only couple of things I know about. Yeah.
I think so with Artemis and the missions that are going on within next 20 to 30 year horizon, I think people from all sectors going to be very relevant in space because if humans are going to colonize lunar surface, they're going to need everyone, doctors,
Yeah.
engineers, every profession people will have to go through the training and the chances will become quite large. I think so.
Yeah.
With every profession will be required over
Yeah.
there. Yeah. And before we end the session, of course, हा session मी सेंट जोसेफ जे आता current principal आहे त्यांच्यासोबत share करणार आहे. I've told
Mhm.
him about our conversation. And before we end the session, what let's say if there is a girl today in let's say 10th standard and she looks up to you and wants to get into NASA for astronaut training program or any research program in NASA. What should be the ideal approach? Should it be engineering? At your time, you did not do engineering, yet you have been, very excellent in your academics and your programs. You later on went on to continue it and complete it. What should be the approach? Because nowadays, those options are not
Mhm.
available for girls. It's like you complete your education in one go and then. So, what would be the right approach?
See, even I did that, right? Even I completed my education in one go, like you were saying, bachelor's in physics and master's in computer applications. And then I worked as a software engineer in Mumbai. And then I
Hmm,
came to the US and continued working as a software engineer. So that
right.
experience matters after
Matters.
education. And then you can pursue, then I pursued another degree, which was in engineering, aerospace
Right.
engineering.
Right.
So even if the today you're saying girls won't have, nobody will have those opportunities. You have to always find the opportunities and make
Right.
the opportunities for yourself. And
Right.
I think I say that you also have to have that support system. So
True.
your parents, your husbands, your people around you, they are your support system. Of course they will be resistant, and so
Right.
girls need to know that fine, they are resistant, but that does not mean you go completely against them, revolt against them, and then try to pursue your journey like a
Right.
lone wolf. No, it's
Right.
never possible. You have to take everyone with you.
Support. Yeah.
So make sure you don't compromise on your duties for them. They will support you, and then you pursue your dreams. To come to NASA, again, like I said, I had been here for a long time. I had been here as a software engineer. Um, so, what paid off? My persistence, my perseverance, and my patience. I know you said in the beginning, today's generation does not have patience, and I have myself experienced that in person. When people reach out to me, they are not patient.
Right.
They want me to leave my meetings and start replying to them right away.
Right.
But that's not possible. So, pursue this goal, especially if you want to come to the US to work for NASA. Pursue this goal only if you have the patience,
Okay.
and can wait and can get through obstacles and hardships without giving up. Those are the keywords: persistence, perseverance, and patience. Three P's, I would say. But yes, you have to be a US citizen to come work for NASA. Now, the astronaut applications have changed. Earlier, it was bachelor's would be enough to qualify to apply to the NASA astronaut program. Now, you have to have a master's in STEM: science, technology,
Damn.
engineering, math. Their degrees won't work. So you have to have a master's in STEM. You have to be a US citizen, the first criteria. And then you have to keep building other skills that help towards her. Because, like I said, everyone that applies to the NASA program, astronaut program, is extremely qualified. You're in competition with those people. I've been in competition with those people for the 3 times that I've applied so far. There's no guarantee. Again, like astronauts have said to me, even Rajachari, he has said to me, he applied about 3 or 4 times and then he got picked. So
Hmm.
it's also a matter of, no matter how many qualifications you have, it's also a matter of luck. Luck is a big factor.
Yeah.
So like I said, you can have all these qualifications, but don't put all your eggs in this basket. Ki I want to become an astronaut. Build a career that even if you don't make it to the astronaut program, you'll be happy with, you'll be excited about. So don't be ready for disappointment. I've been ready for disappointment 3 times that I've applied. No luck. I still plan on applying, even though I'm kind of a little older. But yeah, persistence is the key. Taking your family along with you is the key. Another thing I would like to say, this is not an easy journey, right? You have to come to the US, you have to get some visa to come to the US, then you have to wait to become a green card holder, then you
Hmm.
have to wait to become a citizen. So this is like
Hmm.
6 years to wait for green card after H1B, which won't start immediately after you come here. And then after that you have 6 years to become a citizen. I think it was 6 years, I don't remember exactly, between green card and citizenship. But and then even after that, yeah, you've built a career, but there's no guarantee, yeah, you'll become an astronaut. There are private astronaut programs that are happening around in the US right now, right? You saw Shubhanshu Shukla, he flew as a private astronaut up to the space station, but there was a lot of money involved. $65 million and you get a seat to fly to the space station. I want $65 million. Someone sponsor me. I'm just kidding. But yes, commercial programs are going to make it possible for people who have a lot of money to fly. I don't know when will it become cheaper and affordable for people like us.
Yeah.
ISRO has started a human spaceflight program.
Yeah.
So look at those options if you don't want to wait all your life. Like me, I started this journey when I was already 30 with a 3-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So how much time did I have? But maybe if you start young when you're in your 20s, you can get here faster than I have been able to. But ISRO, look at ISRO as also. ISRO is hiring, will be hiring astronauts in the future. Right now,
Yeah.
they hired Indian Air Force pilots
Yeah.
and all male, which is a
Yeah.
disappointment. I was hoping they
Hmm.
would at least hire one female.
For
But
Gaganyaan,
yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, huh?
For
Yeah, for the
Gaganyaan,
Gagan.
right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they should have hired at least one female. I'm
Yes.
sure
Yes.
capable female fighter pilots in the Indian Air Force.
Definitely. Yeah.
But yes, these are your options, and patience and persistence will help you, not
Right.
giving up. Yeah,
Right.
it's a
Right.
long journey.
Thanks a lot. I mean, a lot of insights and a lot of exciting talks we have done. We've understood a lot about your career and your graph, how it has taken up. You have made sure that the graph line has gone up slowly and steadily, and now you are where you are. I think it's a dream job, and I can see it in your eyes how passionate you are about your work while you're talking and describing things and explaining it in depth that only a person who is passionate about their profession can do very nicely. So again,
Thank you.
thanks a lot for giving your valuable time, helping our cause, and making so many people aware about what you are doing and how you are doing it. So a warm
Mhm.
thank you from our whole team to you.
Yeah, it's an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, ma'am.
And it's been fun sharing my story with you guys. Thank
Same
you.
here, same here. Fun year to
Yeah,
listen to all the stories. Okay, thanks a lot, ma'am. I'll close the session.
thanks. Yep.